Hi guys, so my name is Gunreet Cargill. Sorry if I squint, the sun is pretty strong out here. So I'm here at the Iboga Wellness Center and I felt like I should really do a testimonial about my experience here at the center. So I guess just a little bit about me. So the reason that I actually came to the center was because I had a lot of darkness, a lot of trauma in my life, and a lot of grief and regret and things that I couldn't really let go of. So before the center, I actually, for the past 5 or 6 years or so, I had really severe depression, like crippling depression, which kind of snowballed into like anxiety. To the point where, being in crowds or being in groups of big people was really difficult for me, which really sucked because so in high school I was actually not depressed. It only actually started once I started university. So severe depression, social anxiety, couldn't go out, couldn't go to parties. I actually started to develop alcoholism. I was drinking every day, trying to escape myself. Because there was just so much pain that I didn't know how else to cope. So I became an alcoholic, started smoking a ton of weed. For a good, a few months, I don't really remember a day where I was actually sober or a moment where I was actually fully sober. So it got pretty bad. On top of that, I actually do have a history of being sexually assaulted. I've been raped twice, and that kind of led to me developing PTSD pretty severely. Like I couldn't really be around men, and if I was, even with people, I found that I had no more love really to give people, or even for myself. So even the simple act of just giving people a hug was just so difficult for me. Smiling at like babies or holding babies was such a task for me. And it got to the point where I became really suicidal in 2018. I was suicidal before then, but 2018 I think was really the year that it got really bad, to the point where I actually couldn't even be in my own kitchen because there were too many sharp objects there. So I basically stayed in my room day in and day out. I started failing out of university, failing all my classes, which was even worse for me because I'm used to being like a very academically inclined, straight A student, and then once my mental illness hit, it was like the rug kind of got swept out from under my feet. I could barely attend classes, and got to the point where I ended up in the hospital, ended up in a psych ward, and did some inpatient, outpatient therapy. For most of my therapy, I really tried every Western way I could think of. I was on antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. I was in therapy. I went to a psychotherapist. I went to a psychiatrist. I had a regular therapist. I did an outpatient program at the hospital. I did CBT and DBT training, so cognitive behavioral and dialectical behavioral therapy. And it got to the point where nothing worked. Like I got to this really dark place of thinking like this is my life. Like I'm never gonna be happy. I'm always just gonna be, I don't know, less than stellar, I guess, for the rest of my life. So at that point, at the point where I had really just sort of lost all hope for myself and I was just not in any mood to really try anymore, is when actually a family friend of mine, she did Iboga in May 2018. So I actually ended up talking to her in March 2019. And, she told me about it, and I just got such a strong sense of like, as soon as she said the word Iboga, I got this strong sense of like, this is going to help me. So I really got to do this. And so I, got in contact with Levi here at the center, and I booked my trip here. And I got here within the month, which was hard because I didn't have time to, get off of my antidepressants, like wean off them properly. I had to quit everything cold turkey. But I had such a strong sense of like, this, I need to do this. So I got here, I did all that, got here, and I came with a lot of fear and a lot of sadness, a lot of I definitely had a cloud over my head for a long time. So I got here, you know, did the Iboga ceremonies, and honestly, it was transformative. Like, I don't think, and I'm getting emotional right now because I don't think that I've ever felt so secure in myself and so happy to just be alive and to just be. And that's, I think, the gift that Iboga gives people. Right now, it's actually around the end of July 2019. You know, I didn't want to do a testimonial right when I did Iboga, so I actually did Iboga at the beginning of April. So it's been around 3 or 4 months now, where I've really, you know, had time to integrate and really had time to sort of see if the effects would last long term. And honestly, like, the days go by and I'm so much more secure and happy with myself, and my mind is so much more still. I'm off my antidepressants completely. I don't take any medication for mental illness anymore, and I feel still and cured. Not cured, but I feel this reconnection with myself that I don't think any medicine, any Western methods anyway, have ever given me. You know, Iboga, the gift it gave me was clarity. And I think that's what a lot of people, especially when you're coming here for a psycho-spiritual journey, you know, you want that clarity. That clarity is, that's what really saves the wind. That's what really saves you. You know, having that clarity and being given that gift of self-awareness and being reminded of the power that I have within myself was more priceless than anything that I could ever have wished for. And it's such a great environment here. You know, there's a really big sense of love and family that I get here, and you know, I'm doing great. You know, I went home and I started my life. You know, I'm no longer scared to do things, and even if there's that fear, I trust in myself enough to know that I'll be able to get through it. And everyone here is family to me now. You know, they did so much for me, and the best part is that, you know, they always tell you as well when you get in contact with them that, you know, they can't really heal you. You have to sort of do that yourself. But they definitely facilitated it in a way that made me really confident in my own abilities. And I think that's the best thing, is that the healing isn't external from you, it's internal. It all comes from you, and that is such a gift, to know that you have the strength within you to really make your life different. I'm not going to go too much more into that, just because everyone's experience here is so unique and so different. For me, a lot of the healing didn't come until after I went home, and I saw how different things were, and like how I needed to see things in my life differently. So if you're kind of on the edge of like, should I come to the center or not? Honestly, it was the best decision I've ever made for my life. And I honestly don't think you guys will regret it. So I'm just gonna end off here, and I really, really hope that, you know, you guys find what you guys are looking for, and I hope you end up here with this wonderful team with Levi and Gary and Peter, you know, and really, really show up for yourselves, which is what I learned to do, and that's the greatest gift of all. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing experience.